Kristen, tell us what it's like being married to your pastor.
Nice.
Well, I'm supposed to be fully honest.
Yeah, let's be honest.
There's no kids here right now.
Right.
Crazy.
Well, I would say I don't have a pastor. Like, I'm not married to my pastor. I just simply don't get to have a pastor. So I have to find that, whatever people look for from their pastor, like, I have to find that somewhere else. So God has brought women into my life who do that for me. Honestly, there's times that Josh has pastored me, and that's been kind of that male authority role has been really helpful. I'm not saying Eric doesn't shepherd me as his wife, but it's just different.
That's good.
Anna, what's it like being married to Josh?
Be nice.
I'll be nice. Well, I think that for one thing, it's really cool to be, we're truly like best friends and teammates. And so I think that that's a really fun thing, just being able to be married to somebody who wants to be your teammate. I think we've had to learn a lot over the years about our differences. He obviously, you guys know, more outgoing, more on the stage. You guys have never seen me on the stage.
No, first time. Yeah.
Besides like baptism, but so just kind of figuring out what that looks like has been challenging and exciting all kind of at the same time.
Awesome.
She's way cooler than me, by the way. Just we have that on the record that Anna is actually way cooler than Josh Olson.
I can affirm that.
Yeah, let's
that
just
is
go
true.
over that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Who usually drives the car when you are together? Kristen, you go first.
Eric. Yes. Unless he's just super not wanting to move the van seat, like.
Yes.
Because
we're
like,
10 inches apart,
we're
and
really,
so.
Him getting into my van is really humorous.
Yeah, my knees touch the steering wheel, and so.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Olsen? So what about you guys?
No question. I drive.
You drive.
Always. Always. Not like in a bad way, but
Yeah.
like I do like having control of the vehicle.
I am a great driver. He just has no idea because I've never driven the car with
I'm
him.
better driver than you, though.
Okay.
You know that's true. Anyway, it's a control issue. It's a control thing. Let's be honest. It is.
Which of you two likes to drive with tinted windows? Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
All the things.
All right, next question. Who falls asleep faster? Josh?
Me.
Yeah?
Yeah. No question.
He can fall asleep like still talking.
Mid-sentence.
The other night he did fall asleep mid-sentence. Like I was like, all right, you're snoring. The conversation's done. Sounds good.
That's awesome. Kristen, what about us?
Oh, me.
Yeah, Kristen falls asleep way faster than me. I'll be talking to her. I'll be like, babe. Like,
And I'll try to fake
I'm
it. I'll be like, yeah, good.
I'm just
thoughts.
rolling
Processing
over
what you're saying.
because my side hurts.
Great idea, honey. Okay, yeah, you go do that.
That's true. That's so true.
I'll be laying there for an hour. Me. All right. Anna, what was your first date together?
Was it young?
I guess so. So we dated for a while. We dated in college, and when you're in college, it's just initially you're dating. You don't go on official dates yet, kind of. So our official first date, we went to Yum. Is that right?
Here's what really happened. So, what really happened was,
I thought he wasn't going to talk.
I
unless
know,
you
but
invited him to talk.
she's being too nice though. But she's being too nice. We got to be honest out here. So what really happened was, my wife is my former best friend's ex-girlfriend. So I did that. That was me. I said, swoop, right? So it was really interesting in that time. And so for a while in a season, I was her boyfriend, not boyfriend. So it wasn't Facebook official, right? That was the thing.
My family literally called him boyfriend, not boyfriend,
Right.
for 6 months.
I was very lingering. So finally, yeah, we went to Yum, that little cafe down in Calhoun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was our first date officially.
Well, because we wanted to make sure it was real before we
True. Yeah, that's
brought it up to people and it not be something super serious.
That's good.
Yeah. Kristen, what about us? What was our first date?
I was actually answering this on Facebook last night, and so I think we both agreed it was when he first officially said, can I take you out? we think it was on a weekend. Literally can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact date. But yeah.
Well, right,
Yeah.
but like I think midweek he called because I remember I was an RA, resident assistant in college, and so I had like 32 freshman girls who were watching this whole saga unfold, and all of them were like, "Is it a date or not?" And I was like, "I don't really know," like because we went out to lunch after church on Sunday. Was that not a date? But this time he asked me specifically like to plan for it, and so it was super confusing, but it turned out I guess it was a date, and we went to, I cannot remember the name of the restaurant.
Lauren Pasta Bar?
Loring Pasta Bar in Dinkytown, and he made me try crab spaghetti, which was actually really good. And then I think we went back to your apartment and watched Snowy River. That's what I have in my head.
I think
Or
though,
White Fang, or like it was some weird
Manchester,
movie.
I think I took you then to
Oh yeah.
Uptown, and
See, I don't know.
we did desserts at
been a long time.
Filio's.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Lauren Pasta Bar
do
and
that.
Filio's. Yeah.
Yeah, you should
For
just tell the
tiramisu.
story, because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
remember.
And then back to my apartment for A Man from Snow River. It's one of my favorite movies.
We've never watched since.
Once or twice, but yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you guys cuddle?
Dude.
We held hands.
We did. That was our first time holding hands.
Yes.
Yep. It was good times. Yeah.
He did not try to kiss me, which was wise.
Yes. No, not then. You've all heard that story though, probably. So, Olsen's, how long have you guys been together?
Together, 9 years. Married almost 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kristen?
Are you going to answer any questions?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I talk all the time, so.
17-ish, married 15 and a half.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
What's next? Who said I love you first? Anna?
Josh did.
Was this when he was boyfriend, not boyfriend? Or did he wait?
Yes.
Were you still with the other guy when he said I love you?
Oh, gosh.
No,
Okay.
I had broken up with the
Okay,
other guy
good.
before we actually didn't like really enjoy being around each other initially. Like when I was dating the other guy, I set him up with somebody because I was like, okay, if he's always gonna be with us,
Yeah.
there should at least be like somebody else
That's
there
hilarious.
too.
That's perfect.
So no, that was not until after. But yes, he did say he loved me first during the boyfriend, not boyfriend
Nice.
season.
I think I said it first. We started dating in November, and then that first December, I flew out to visit Kristen's family in Colorado. So we've been dating a month, but we knew pretty quickly, like,
We'd been dating 2 months.
yeah,
But we were like officially
Right before my
boyfriend and girlfriend for a month.
yeah.
And he said, I love you.
Yes, we were on her parents' couch,
Cuddling?
Sure.
kissing,
Ooh.
and I think I turned and said, I love you.
And my dad walked through.
And then we kissed some more, and her dad walked through as we were kissing,
Yep.
which was
Super
a
fun.
wonderful way to make a first impression.
Awesome. Like,
Yes.
dad clears his throat as he walks through the room. Like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, just be still. Maybe he won't see us.
Yeah. We were watching Lion King 1.5, I think. Which I still haven't seen all of that movie. So.
Nope.
Anna, who's the most sensitive out of you two?
Josh again.
It's true. I didn't know that, but
Yeah, it's great.
Sure.
I became more sensitive after us being together, which was a good thing.
Yeah.
But definitely Josh is still more sensitive than I am.
yes. He's a feeler, you're a thinker, right? On
Correct,
the
yeah.
Myers-Briggs. Yeah.
Yep.
Kristen, who's more sensitive between us?
Well, I honestly don't.
I think me.
I think it's equal, but
Yeah.
I'm so not. I'm just not in touch with my emotions. Like I keep them all locked away and hidden because emotions bring conflict, and who wants conflict? So, yeah, I would actually say that he's actually more hurt more easily, or also like can be more in tune with the actual feelings in the room if he's not in a withdrawn
Yeah.
place. Like we both withdraw. We're both withdrawn stance personalities. So
I have thin skin.
he does have. It's gotten thicker the longer you're in ministry. That's true. But
That's true. All right, next. Who is neater and who is cleaner? Josh?
Oh, yikes. It used to be very clear that you were neater and cleaner than me, but now that we got a house, I'm pretty like focused on cleaning. For example, as people, some of our friends know who are probably watching right now, like I have vacuum lines as if I'm mowing my lawn that I have on my carpet. Like it's very particular. Like
It's impressive.
I like care about this stuff now. But I mean, I still think you are probably more neater and cleaner than me, which is rubbed off on me. You know, I think you're.
Yeah. I think I'm still neater.
Yeah.
But you definitely also are clean now.
Yeah, I have a beard, and so it just happened. Like, yeah, our bathroom just your sink's nicer than my sink. It's just the way it goes. I get in trouble for that quite a bit. I need to do better.
What about us?
Eric really likes like nothing on surfaces, like the decluttered look, but the difference is I like things put away in their right spot. So there will be piles of things that need to go other places, and I just get stuck in that place, and he will just shove the things. He'll shove all the things in one cupboard, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not where they go. He's like, yes, but now the surfaces are
Yes.
clean.
Out of sight, out of mind. Yes.
But I'm cleaner. Like, when's the last time you cleaned a toilet?
A while ago.
And who makes the toilet the messiest?
I don't know.
Ew,
The boys in the house, for sure.
poop joke.
Who holds the remote when you watch TV together? Olsen's? Anna?
Me.
Josh?
Well, kind of. No, because you will always get the
Oh,
start
that's true.
started,
Yeah,
the show
that's true.
started, but then he'll always hand the remote to me.
true.
Nice.
Maybe because he falls asleep,
That is
Yeah,
exactly
there you go.
why.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
but also in our room we have a TV that's on the wall against
Yeah.
Kinsley's room, and so it's always volume control. As soon as music gets too loud, you
Yeah,
have to be
yeah.
ready to turn it down. So he puts me on that part of the remote control job.
Yeah, that's true. I actually don't hold the remote as much as I thought I used to. I'm like, I'll turn it on, you take over, because I'm gonna fall asleep, and I want to
Yeah.
be in charge of turning it off.
Nice. I always hold the remote.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, I get super wigged out
Yeah.
if he's like, why don't you go turn the TV on? I'm like, what?
How do I do that?
No, I know how for the children, but then I'm like, what are we watching? I don't know. I could just defer completely.
Real
Yeah.
quick question about remotes and volume, just on TV
Yeah.
for everybody out there. Is anybody else out there that has to be on either a 5 or a 0, like the volume? So it's 25, 30, 35. Anybody else, please? Okay, thank you. I'm about to say, am I crazy?
Thank you for the courtesy way.
Thank you
Josh.
guys. Yeah.
Or an even number.
Nope.
It can't be 31, but 32 is fine.
Nope.
No,
Oh,
he
really?
literally
Fives,
always has to
zeros.
go to
Increments
5
of
or
fives.
0.
Middles
Yes.
or yes, whole.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's weird, dude. That's like carpet lines.
It's
Yeah, it
right,
is.
but what's tough is it's a pretty big margin, 30 to
Oh, yeah.
35. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to ask. Sorry.
All right, next one. Anna, what do you wish you would have known in your first 2 years of marriage?
We're getting serious now.
I think it would have been that conflict can be healthy, and that marriage actually is hard work. People say that. I think everybody says that, but it really is. You have to actually put in the time and effort to want to make it work. And I think those first couple of years are a really telling time for every marriage. Even if you've been together a long time, you spend a lot of time. We spent multiple days together. We'd hang out every single day when we were dating and engaged. It's just different as soon as you're married and living together. And so I think just the intentionality of knowing, one, we got married really young.
How old are you guys?
I was 21.
Did you turn 21 yet?
Yes, I was definitely 21. You were 22? No, 2.
I'm 2 years older
No,
than
you're
you.
not. You're a year and a half older, and we got married in the spring, and your birthday's in the summer. So you were 22 years old.
Same thing. Yep.
So we were young, and that was a very, your life is changing so much at that age. You're just getting out of college, getting into careers, and so I think really I would have wanted to know that confrontation can be healthy when it's done in a good, constructive way, and communicating with each other, not just bottling it up and hoping that it gets better, but actually just taking the time to have that hard conversation to work through it together.
Good. Josh, same thing?
Yeah. Honestly, just the amount of stuff that comes up when you guys are married that you might have known or thought about or talked about before, but then all of a sudden it's oh, it really matters now. It's very real now. And then seeing how it affects just past things for me or past things for you, how much it affected us when married, like parent issues or parenting or just different things like that. It was like, oh, it's real now. We're not, it's not just like, oh yeah, we're dating, or like, it's like, this is real. I think, yeah, just taking that in and be like, okay, how are we going to make it the best thing that we can make? So yeah, totally.
Kristen, what do you wish you would have known?
I think that, like, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, it's the same answer. Like, we didn't fight. Like, our first year was pretty simple, easy. But also, I think there was a lot. Like, we moved to another state. He had no community. I had my family, but it's not, we didn't have friends. And we didn't realize until much later how much that affected him. And I swear he was not his true self until we finally got back here to Minnesota, which by then we'd been married
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I remember my mom even saying like, okay, I wish you were still here in Colorado, but Eric is at peace. He is comfortable. He is content in this culture. He was not in Colorado. So I don't know what kinds of effects really that had on our marriage. But I think my very precise answer would be, I wish we'd gone to marital counseling in that first year. Like, I just wish that's something that people did. Like, not because there's some huge problem that you need to work through, not waiting until you've had a baby in the NICU and you're all stressed out about it and you need to go talk to someone and work through it. But I just wish that we'd done it then, almost like skills training. Like, here's how to do this better and here's how to talk better. And some of the stuff we've done since in marital counseling, but it would have benefited us a lot more prior and younger in our marriage. And that could have been done in premarital counseling, but we did ours just enough to get a discount on the marriage license. Nice. Like, it was not real premarital counseling at all. So.
Yeah, I think, very similar. I wish I would have known that, we all think we're just naturally good at marriage or just naturally good at parenting. And we go into it and we're like, oh, I got this. But instead of realizing how much study and training you need to do, and so I wish we'd have seen a counselor early on to coach us through those first years.
We just had an older couple who wasn't our parents,
Absolutely.
Just walking with us.
That would have
we
been
didn't have
huge.
that.
Yeah.
So
having a couple that have been married 5 or 10 years.
And being honest with them.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is where maybe we need some help learning how to talk to each other, learning how to fight. We are learning how to fight this year.
It's true. Yeah, the pandemic, that's really brought that
pandemic has made us learn, okay, here's how you fight well and use it to your advantage, not just get angry.
Yeah, because when I was a teenager and in college, I read some books like Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, 5 Love Languages, but I really read those books to get girls, not to be better at relationships. And so then I think I went into marriage and just oh, I know all this, and then started to read some books, Dr. Gottman, some other ones, Lehman. And so we have some books out there. If you don't have the sheet music, it's a great Christian book on kind of sex and intimacy and relationships. Go ahead and grab that on your way out. We got 5 copies out there. But yeah, I wish I would have, same with parenting. You go into it and you think, oh, I got this. We're just gonna be naturally good parents. And then you start reading parenting books and go to parenting classes. And so I highly recommend anyone, take classes, read books, go to counseling for both parenting and marriage. No, you're not naturally good at it. Just, if you think you are, you're not. You need some help.
That's good.
All right, Kristen and Anna, what's one thing every husband should know about their wife? Again, broad, general stuff. What do you think most husbands, if men, need to know about women or about their wives? I know, it's a tough one.
Okay. Because I can answer, what you need to know about me. But,
Sure, yeah.
Well, it's a little awkward.
Talk to your mic.
I'll talk when I'm ready.
Okay.
Really hear me. I'm processing.
Everyone online's what is she doing?
I know. Okay, I would say just knowing what's hard for us lately is I think if every husband could figure out what every wife needs that she's not going to ask for, which is not fair at all because he's said for 10 years, thank you, can I get an amen? But he knows that I need to go be by myself to recharge or go out with a friend, and I will not make space for that
Yeah.
because I will constantly defer to the needs of my family or to perceived busyness that actually isn't busy because the stuff could get done later and it's more important for me to go take care of me. So I think probably that, like, how does your wife need to be pushed into self-care? And some women are a lot better about that. They've figured it out. They know what they need. They make space for it. Some of us are more harmony-driven people pleasers, overwhelmed by our roles, and so we just kind of like, I just keep pacing around the kitchen waiting for someone to need me because I'm just so reactive, waiting for people to tell me what to do instead of like saying, this is what mom needs to do right now,
Yeah,
and
that's
going
good.
and doing it.
Yeah, and I think just in general, again, these are generalities. I think men are better at like compartmentalizing and being like, okay, I need to go do this. I need to go play some golf or go grab a beer with a friend.
Yes.
And I think the wife and moms in particular, I think, really struggle in general to take that time for themselves. So husbands, dads, like, make your wife take that time because they're not naturally, most women do that for themselves. Anna, same thing?
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer. Josh and I have been talking about that a lot, even this year too, because I do a lot of the same things. I think in addition to that is just understanding how they communicate. We communicate very differently from each other, so if we are talking about something or deciding something, we process those things differently. He will verbally process it and want to talk through it right away, where I will like take something and want to take time and think through it and then come back with a decision. And so I think that that's really important to know is just how, I mean, really this goes either way, but how they want to communicate and how they handle making decisions. Because I feel like if you don't know that, that is what typically leads to arguments.
Let's get wild and crazy and a little deeper and a little even more. So a follow-up question. In general, just share, statistics say evangelical men, that'd be men who go to a Bible-believing church like this, that somewhere between 60 to 75% still struggle with pornography and looking at stuff they shouldn't look at. It's a very real thing. And then guys who don't attend church, 95, 100%, if a married couple is struggling with that, what's something that, you could just even share from a wife's perspective, a woman's perspective, how does a husband's actions affect the typical wife or woman, where, I know I've heard men say like, I'm not paying for porn, so, I'm not hurting anyone, or, I'm just looking at this, I'm not doing something, so I'm not cheating, or I'm not hurting anyone doing this. But how does that actually hurt
Yeah.
the wife or female, or,
I think it's about the perception that comes with it. I think because there's a lot of young men who watch it now. And unfortunately, it depicts a completely different reality of what sex is and what it's about. How sex was designed was not about the female being seen as a figure, which is basically what happens in pornography. And so I think what happens unknowingly to a lot of men, because they watch it maybe at a young age too, is that it gives them a perception of what their wife is supposed to be and what they're supposed to demonstrate and be like, when that's not what it's about. It's supposed to be about your relationship and love and the connection. Porn has nothing to do with any of that. There's no love or connection or relationship
no
there.
intimacy, nothing.
So I think it just totally changes the image of what it's actually supposed to be and what you're truly sharing. Because then it becomes an act, and it's just a physical thing that you do when it's supposed to be a bonding moment in a relationship.
Good. Anything you want to add?
Well, I just want to speak to the fact that, women can view porn too.
Yep, absolutely,
Women can get sucked into romance novels and things that make the male pursuit of the woman just unrealistic. Like, you pursue me, but not like some long blonde-haired muscly man in some romance novel. Like, I love you.
Yeah, okay. I need to grow my hair out.
No, I don't want that.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
I don't
yeah.
read those books.
Yeah,
but just that women can get drawn into that
Yeah.
too, and it's the same thing. It's creating this unrealistic just not real perception of what this is supposed to be. This is messy, but it's good and it's hard, and we fight and we're angry and we turn away and we come back together and we cry, and like that is not depicted in these books or these I don't, what is porn, videos? I don't even know. Pictures? I have no idea. Whatever people are viewing and digesting and taking in, like that's just, it's not reality. And so that affects the relationship, because then you're coming together and you're hoping that he's going to pursue me like that romance novelist, and I'm going to be whatever, I don't know, aggressive or sexual in a way that I'm not, you know, like depicted in porn. So then you're met with this like, hi, I'm wearing sweatpants and the kids could come in at any minute. This is not enticing, but we need to do this for our marriage. Like, this is really important. So lock the door, and if they pound on it and start sobbing, then it's super awkward, and you have to have a fun conversation later with your 8-year-old. But, you know, it's good.
Hypothetically speaking.
Right.
We're doing a Monday night Zoom small group for marriages, which has been really good, and watching these videos, and one of them was talking about address pornography real quick. But what I like what they said in the video was, you know, people in these videos, movies, whatever, you know, they're paid actors, and they aren't raising kids together. They aren't, you know, fighting. They're not going grocery shopping. They're not cleaning the bathrooms. You know, like, they're just paid actors coming together to be paid to show that they're having pleasure. You know, and so like it gives you such a warped picture, and again, like now the statistics are saying like boys as young as like 10 are typically viewing it over at a friend's house or someplace, or an uncle introduces it, or a cousin, and so like parents, like it's something you should be talking to your kids. We need to get better at it, but really starting at age 9 or 10, especially with the boys, girls around there too, I think. But yeah, everything you guys said about the unrealistic stuff is so good, and I think too, just in general, like whether your wife's reading these romance novels or watching some TV show, Grey's Anatomy, or whatever that presents an unrealistic picture, or guys are looking at stuff like, I think it just really feeds too, like into the I'm not good enough, you know, because it's like, yeah, I'm not perfect. I don't have a six-pack. I don't, you know, whatever. And I think both guys and girls can have that sense of inadequacy, and then that just drives you apart instead of together when you're comparing yourself to others. All right, let's go to our next question. I've said, God should be your one and your spouse should be your two. How do you pursue your two, Josh, especially after having kids?
Oh, man. Okay. There's a lot here. So, all right. So to be honest, I think after we got married, I don't know if God was my number one. I think Anna was my number one, just because that's where all my focus and time, and it was a new relationship and a new season, and so this is where it took all my time and attention in a good way, in that way. But I didn't really even think about that until maybe the conflict started coming, and I was like, oh, maybe I need to reprioritize. But when we had kids, so my background, so I'm adopted, and I was adopted when I was 2 days old. And then after 14 years in a different country, I came back here. My parents were missionaries. Came back here, and I met my birth family. And so now I actually have a relationship with my family down in Dallas, Texas. And so I've had, you know, two father figures in that way. So I've, you know, my adopted dad and my you know, birth father. And very different relationships with both. And just being an adopted kid, I went through some stuff with that. My older brother was the only biological son. I have a younger sister who's also adopted. My dad and I did not get along. My adopted dad and I did not get along really well at all. He's a very, you know, tough love, great dad, but very tough love. And as Anna mentioned, I'm very sensitive. And so I'm very like, I need affirmation, you know. And so we struggled. So there was a lot in my past, long story short, that when I became a dad, especially to a son, very first son, Paxton, I was like, I am going to be the best dad in the world, like no question, and nothing else matters. And then having a daughter is like, whoa, okay, I love my son, but this is my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love you, Paxton, but princess, come here. It's a very weird thing. But like, for sure, it's been something. So Paxton's 4 now. Kinsey will be 2 in September. Like, I have put the kids before you, for sure. And we've been working through that because that's not right. It shouldn't be that way. Even in just the way the kids react to both of us. I mean, I love the fact that they love me more than you, but they don't. You know, they don't. It's just a thing. They're so used to me. It's true. Let's be honest. They act that. It's not the reality, but I'm just saying. I'm Mama Bear now. I'm Mama Bear now. That's what I do. But that's not healthy. Like, they need to realize that, like, both of us are parents and stuff. And so I think my priorities, especially with this question, were all out of sorts for a long time. And like, from all its different stages, if I would have put in as much time as I was with Anna when we were, newly married, as I should have, like with God, it would have been a better relationship with God, right? Or if, I'm putting as much time as I am with the kids right now, if I do that and more that I should be doing with our marriage would be better. Does that make sense? So, like, I'm kind of reprioritizing things because as a dad, as a stay-at-home dad, your life is consumed around kids. I think as a parent, like, it's very easy to be like, well, the kids need me more than you need me. But I don't think that's true. I think that's a tricky lie that you have to work through because I think your spouse needs you more than anybody else in the entire world. And so, definitely something that we've been working on. But, yeah, I need to put Anna as number, and I say this is number 1, but number 2, because God's always number 1, because we're in church. But, like, I got to put you first, I don't know. I'm just being honest. Like, yes, God's my number 1. He's my number infinity, whatever. Like, he's the top. This is not even, but, like, you need to be my number 1 out of anything. And I think that's something that I'm working on quite a bit. And I feel like it's growing our relationship when that happens. So.
Anna, rebuttal?
Rebuttal. The kids don't love him more.
I did this.
They're different relationships.
Do they gravitate to me more than you?
It depends.
We joke about this all the
It depends
time.
on the situation.
We'll do conflict next.
Not true.
Yeah. I think tactically something that we're doing now is making sure that we put a date night back on the calendar weekly. We love being with the kids. We think our kids are pretty cool. So we are with them all the time. We love hanging out with them. I'm working from home, so I'm there but not there during COVID, of course. And so we've spent time with friends on different evenings, which has all been great, but then realizing we also need to make sure that we have time, just the two of us. Yeah, and we try to be intentional too, just in the evenings after the kids go to bed. But of course, some nights you're just exhausted after the kids go to bed. Or Kinsley's a little bit of a diva, so sometimes she likes to stay up past her bedtime and push limits when she can. But so we've decided to make sure that if we can't be always intentional about that time after bedtime, then we're going to put dates on the calendar to really make sure that we spend that quality time together.
That's good. Anything you want to add?
Josh ended up touching on it, actually, just that as the more full-time, all parents are full-time, but I'm with the kids more. They need me more. And so I think it's taken me about 10 years, Josh is 10 and a half, to figure out that Eric needs me just as much. But he's an adult, so he's going to go figure out life. But we will slowly just silently drift apart because literally all of my energy is taken up by our children. First of all, we didn't intend on having 4. And I didn't know, I just didn't know much about myself. And the more I learn about Enneagram specifically has been super helpful for me. I'm a very low energy person, introverted, needs so much time to just recover from life. So then you add 4 kids, a job, a pastor, wife role, and just family relationships on top of that. I am at my max all the time. So if he needs me, half the time I'm literally oh my gosh, not someone else. I can't, you can't need me right now. And that's not fair. That's not how it should be. So it should reverse itself, and I should be giving myself to him and receiving from him first, and then finding a way, yes, God first. But we're talking practically right here. So that's the only thing. same thing from my perspective as the more like the kids come to me for everything. And it just maxes me out, so.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. What do you do, Josh, to protect your priorities? Like the things that are important to you, and you guys can be so busy with DJing and Great Waters and ministry and everything. Is there anything that you've learned over the last 6-7 years, on how, things you say yes to, things you say no to, friend time, date night? Anna, or you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, you basically said it.
Yeah.
Just being intentional with the time that you guys have. For example, today, so it's Valentine's Day, right? And so we just got back from a trip to Orlando yesterday. We were talking about Valentine's Day. We're like, did you get me anything? Was I supposed to get you anything? Are we supposed to celebrate this tomorrow? We have a panel. Is that true? So we're like, no, it's fine. But tonight, we should make sure that once the kids will be we spend, have a date night. Even if it's ordered DoorDash, right? But just have time, light a candle, whatever. I don't know. Just play a board game. Be intentional with that time because when you have jobs, because ours is, she works during the week. I'm with the kids, and then my DJ stuff is during the weekend. So there was a time where we high five, see you later, and we just didn't see each other at all. And I think that got very dangerous very quick. And so really being able to say no to things. So practically, so even last year, so I did 50, well, even with COVID, so 50 weddings last year from January to December. And she worked Monday through Friday. So I would have their weekends where I worked Friday, Saturday, and then maybe did church Sunday. And so it really was we didn't see each other. Weeknights, we come home, we're exhausted. She comes home, we're exhausted. We go to sleep. DJ nights, I'm out till 3, whatever. And it's just no, let's go to sleep, whatever. And so even this year, it's no, I'm not going to take that many. You know what I mean? It's fun to see a business grow, but that's not what it's about. So no, where I maybe do one a weekend for a hobby's sake, or maybe take that weekend off. But just being intentional with your time, even with the kids too. No, this is actually the kids' time. We're going to have some time. I think what you said was perfect.
And I'll jump in real quick too. I mean, so even with Josh, who been in full-time paid ministry for a number of years, and then transitioned out of that, and then came on staff here as 15 hours a week. But even this summer, having conversations of just you were maxed out, and just there's so much, and so it's he's like, well, okay, what if I don't work for the church, and just a volunteer, and still involved and up here, and you see him drumming and preaching sometimes. But that was even just I think protecting those priorities of just okay, here's what I need to do, and realizing that's okay. You're still in ministry,
right,
just not paid ministry, and you're still pastoring and shepherding, just not the same. And so I think sometimes you got to work through those things of what are the priorities, and right now this season, your work has disappeared in a lot of ways, and not
It actually reappeared while you were in Orlando this week.
yeah.
And so I need I need to work.
Yeah,
it's a good thing, but
Yeah, but it's a lot of give and take, and so there's times where it's okay, when her schedule is getting more busy, then I need to dial back, and there's lots of things we can do, but everything we say yes to is that we're saying no to something else. And so how do we protect those priorities? That's good. How do you handle conflict in marriage, Anna?
Yeah. Josh was just saying, it's kind of what I was saying a few questions ago. Understanding how we process things between the two of us. I think one thing Josh does know about me really well is that I often do, what you were talking about, is something will happen and I'll just kind of internalize it, and I'll end up being okay with it later on, and it's just in my mind. I'm I don't feel like addressing something right now. Let's just carry on. He'll pick up on that very quickly, and he can read it on me, and then he'll just ask me a couple times until I finally he'll be like, "What's wrong?"
Really, what's wrong?
I'm like, "Nothing. It's fine." He's like, "What's wrong?" So I'm like, "Nothing. It's just keep making dinner." But I think because he knows how I do process things, that has been helpful. One, I think it's something I'm still learning and trying to do better at, but it has helped me stay in check with it. So that when he does ask me, obviously then I know I am showing a reaction in some way that I probably wasn't showing before, or like thinking I was showing. But then just understanding how the two of us will talk through it and then kind of process it after.
That's good. I know for us, like, marital counseling has helped with that. And certain things where, and I know other couples as well, if they're just butting heads too much and screaming or just not finding that, kind of hitting pause, okay, let's wait, and then we'll discuss this with the counselor. And that hasn't been us as much, but I know that's helped other people. But I think even having a third party has given us permission to bring up things of like, hey, so I felt this way when you said this or did this. And sometimes, again, having that third party voice can help you navigate that conflict. Because, yeah, like, I don't think, like, we yelled until, like, COVID started, like, at each other. Like, and so, like, we're still learning how to fight and handle conflict because we're both avoiding stuff. I don't know, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think with conflict, like, it takes me a lot of external processing to even figure out what's wrong.
Yeah.
And that I don't make a lot of space for that in my life because the kids are around, or when we're together, it's like, oh, I just don't want to right now. Like, let's just watch TV, or let's play a game, or let's go to sleep. Like, I just can't, I don't want to. So, I mean, even yesterday, like, it wasn't conflict between us, but I just had something that was super frustrating me, and I kept apologizing for monologuing at him. I'm like, I'm sorry, and now there's more, so let me just talk it out, and I'm really just trying to drill down, like, what is bugging me? And it took probably a good 30 minutes of me just, like, monologuing, and I don't even, maybe I finally kind of drilled down, like, okay, here is what bugged me, because to name it, then it has less power. If I can say, this is what's really bothering me, okay, now I can address that instead of, like, all of the drama around it.
Yep.
So I think it just takes me a long time to get there, and I don't make space for that in life. So I'm trying to be better about that, like even some things that have happened with my family and Eric recently that have just caused, like, tension. Like, it has taken me weeks to months later to pinpoint, like, no, this is what bugged me about what you did and what they did, but by the time it's weeks and months later, it's like, what's the point of bringing it up again? So that's where I have to figure out, like, how to speed that process up, and then how to know when it's still worth addressing, even if it happened a long time ago.
Yep,
if
that's
that
good.
makes sense.
And often, it's good to remember that anger is a secondary emotion. It's not a primary emotion. And so usually, almost always, there's something behind the anger.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes, anger is a manifestation of unmet expectations, oftentimes non-verbalized expectations that you thought your spouse or someone was going to do this, and they didn't do it, or you felt devalued or unseen.
Or you literally didn't know you had the expectation until
Yes.
suddenly you're angry and you're like, what's that all about?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
I
then
had
you
this
realize I had
expectation.
expectations. Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually, if you're experiencing anger in your marriage or any relationship, really, there's something behind that anger. It's not the primary.
Right. It's either hurt or fear,
Yep.
confusion.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. And so those are important things to remember. What are your love languages, and how do you try to do those for each other? Mine's physical touch.
Yeah, he told me that when we were dating.
That's a good line.
And then later, early in marriage, he's like, actually, I don't think that's my love language. Like, you
Well,
changed it.
I know.
You were like, maybe that's not actually it. Maybe that's just all men. I'm like, what? I don't get it.
Well, words of affirmation are really important for me too. Like,
You added that in later.
I know.
Anyway.
I need to hear every Sunday that was a good sermon. Like, it's
Yes,
just,
he does.
even if it wasn't good, like, just tell me that. But then physical touch too.
You must have worked hard on that, honey. That's a good. There you go. That's like.
She has a great personality.
Okay.
This is good.
Mine is. I don't even know. It's not gifts. I know that. It's probably physical touch, and we've actually struggled with that over the years. I've said to Eric multiple times, like, I need you to just give me a hug. I need you to just rub my back, and he's improved. He's gotten better about that, but I didn't know that about myself. Like, I was a leaner. My parents would tell me, like, you just lean on us all the time. I'd come into the kitchen, I'd just lean, and now our son Joshua is the same way. And Josh will even come up to me. He's like, Mom, I just haven't had any physical touch today, and I'll just wrap him in a big hug, and he's like getting awkward to hug now because he's almost taller than me. But I see that in our kids now. Like they just need so much physical touch. Anyway, that's off topic.
Yeah.
So physical touch and I think quality time is probably because it takes me so long to process anything that you got to spend a lot of time with me for me to even notice that
Yeah.
I'm being valued.
And quality time, yeah, for women particularly, usually is like face to face, looking at each other in their eyes. That's harder for guys. We're better at side to side. But yeah, not TV on, not, you know.
Yeah, but yes, that's so true.
Like
But
if we're really gonna pull up.
but if you make me turn and sit face to face with you, like I will get all awkward and withdraw and be like,
That's
no,
true,
there's
too.
nothing I want to talk about. Like, don't look at me. Like, so yes, that might be true, like deep down. But a friend takes me out to coffee and tries to get me to talk. I'm like, no, tell me about you. So I think that it's possible that's a love language, but I've barricaded myself
Yeah.
from it in some ways. So you have to sometimes you have to dig a little deeper to figure out what your spouse actually needs because they might have, for some reason, due to who knows what,
Yep.
covered that up.
Yep.
I guess.
You guys?
Mine's definitely acts of service. So being a clean and neat person, when I come out of work every day and he has vacuum lines in the living room, I am very happy.
So that's why that's become important to you, Josh.
Yes, I see now.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Josh's, though, is definitely words of affirmation.
100%.
You're doing a good job, Josh.
Thanks. This is
You
a
should
great
just go out
service.
together and just tell each other how
This is
great
a
you
great
are.
service panel, Eric. Good job. You're doing a great job.
All right, Matt, why don't you pick one more? What do you think?
It's got to be a good one.
Ah, thanks.
Are you kidding?
What's the best sex advice you wish you would have known 5 years ago? Josh.
Schedule it.
Schedule it is a good one. We have a shared calendar, and so we will put sex on the calendar. It sounds very unromantic, but when you have 4 kids and busy, that can help. And now this may sound even weirder, but like we started tracking. I started tracking, like how many times we had sex that month, and
And the calendar shows on my phone. And the children look at my phone.
I was
and
just
it's
going to say, this is
super
a public
awkward.
meeting calendar.
well, sort of just
And
us
then
two,
I was
yeah.
up here the other day, and there was an iPad here that somehow synced to his calendars, and it kept popping up, intimacy calendar. I was like, oh my gosh, turn that off. Why
Delete
is
that.
that on here?
Yeah. So we're learning. But that can help too, because then it's really good to even have a weekly or monthly kind of business meeting where you can talk through your finances.
It does help when you
talk through
started doing
parenting.
this.
But then and just kind of say like, okay, last month this is what we spent money on, and last month this is how many times we were able to be together, because that can also help ground it. If one person's like, oh, we were together a ton last month, and one's like, we didn't at all, it helps be like, all right, we hit our average, or whatever it might be. I know it sounds weird. If it doesn't work for you, that's fine.
Question.
Yes.
With this, so if you have a scheduled time,
Well, it's not the same every.
okay, well, okay, on the calendar or whatever. Wait, it's not. On the, okay, but
No, it's like looking ahead of the week and be like, oh, we
okay,
need to.
but
so-
you put it on the calendar
Yeah.
eventually. Do you ever struggle with finding that like romance because it's scheduled?
No.
Okay.
Because it's like, you wake up that morning, you're like, yeah!
Okay.
like,
It's
yes!
never like
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
It's
Don't
not like,
screw it up.
ah,
Don't screw
God,
I'm
it
gonna
up.
okay.
take a shower. It's gonna be great.
Because she can always click reject.
I
you
think
know?
that's-
so, it's like,
I think that question because that comes from like the sensitive side
Yeah.
for me, right? Is like I'm way too like sensitive.
and we can
emotional when it
have
comes to
unscheduled
that.
sex. Like, that's okay.
Right.
But-
But like if we scheduled sex, I'm like, nah. Like I'm
Yeah.
good because
Really?
you're only doing it because it's scheduled. That's how I would
But
feel.
there's no looking forward. See, it helps because you
That's
can
just
look
because
forward
I'm,
to it.
yeah. I'm just, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the difference, right? Which everyone should know. Like, we're actually very different couples, which is why this is so cool in a great way. But like, that's what I'm like. If you tried to schedule a day, hey, Wednesday 7 o'clock, we're doing that. I'd be like, nah. If the mood's right, yeah. But like, if we fought like at 6:45, there's no way we're going into it at 7. There's no chance. Like, I'm way too sensitive for that. That's
Yeah.
Which is something I think I need to work on too. Kind of going on this.
And my
like,
pushback, I think, is like you schedule what's important. And
Right.
so, like,
That's
I know
good.
you schedule your golf outings
Oh yeah.
and you different things.
You
so-
have to though. It's a tea time.
Well, right. But if it's important, like, you schedule what's important. And
That's
so-
good. Yeah, I just wondered like if there was any lack of like.
I think honestly, when you've tried to conceive for 3 years and
Yeah.
failed, and it becomes like a chore, like scheduling doesn't bother us because you go in, you
No, it's
light the
ovulation
candles,
again,
like
alright.
you just kind of go through the method. It's like we're doing this for our marriage.
Yeah.
I'm not a romantic person. Like I don't try sweeping me off my feet. It won't work. I'll just fall asleep. Like it's like not. It's just not who I am. So that piece of it, like he might miss that because that's probably more his personality. But that just, it's like okay, well, yeah, we'll do this because it's the right thing to do for our marriage, and I love you.
Yeah.
So it works for us.
That's awesome.
I hope my parents aren't watching. That's so awkward.
True. Mine probably, or my dad's out there, so that's good. Best sex advice you wish you would have known
5 years ago.
5 years ago or so.
Been like first year of marriage.
Yeah.
No, I'm just asking you to go first.
No, you go.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little deeper than whatever, but so the difference between Ann and I is that I did not wait till marriage to have sex. She did. And so that, with this question, was very interesting. So 5 years ago would be our first year of marriage, around that time. And there was a lot that came into that, right? Kind of even back to that pornography side of things, the expectations and the view of what sex was and all that, which I got to say this, like, yes, biblically that's there, like wait till marriage, but I think the psychological, emotional side, why it's in the Bible, is for that moment where, like, we had to really work through that and heal that. And, like, to Anna's benefit, like, she was way more forgiving to me than I was myself when we got married. Like, I realized then, I was like, so this is why you wait. And it was something really hard that I had to work through. And I think that was kind of like maybe the biggest advice I wish I would have known, is just really been able to, in my situation, define what our sex life was for us, like just us, right? And I have even said that as time has gone on. Like, it's just so nice that, like, there's no expectation outside of what we expect from each other, not because of other ties. Does that make sense? Like, not because of other things you've seen or experienced or heard, or because I have buddies who will brag about their sex lives, and I remember I worked with a pastor at a past church that literally bragged about his sex life with his wife, and I would go home like, why don't we do this? Like, it was just like a thing, but like cutting that off and be like, nope, this is us. Like, this is our thing, our time. Scheduling works. Scheduling might not work. But the beauty is that it works for you, and it might not. And, like, the beauty behind the fact that it doesn't really matter what anyone else says about your sex life with your spouse. Forget them. Like, blah, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter because they're not this, And I think just really hearing that truth earlier on would have been something I would have held on to better, especially during that time.
Yeah, good. Anna, wrap us up.
I think that is good. I think that is really what we have talked about over the years, is just, it is what you decide to make it for your marriage. I mean, that applies to everything, that's the way you parent is the way you guys decide to parent. It doesn't matter what other people do or what other people think you should do. They're your children. The same thing with marriage and sex. We needed to make our sex life the way we needed it for our marriage to feel healthy and the way we wanted it to be. And so the same thing, obviously, for you guys. They may be different, look different, but it's what works for each individual marriage.
That's good. Awesome. All right, we're going to close up now. And so thanks, everyone, for texting in questions. And we'll see how many more we didn't get to. And we may try to do a midweek thing or something where we answer some of those questions. I think we're going to skip our closing song, Matt. Sorry. Since we're at 11:17 now. I'm just going to close this in prayer, and then we're going to head out of here. So thanks, everyone who joined us online and in here in the room. Let's pray. God, thank you again for creating relationships. And Lord, we just pray that you just help us to know that we are created to have a relationship with you and with others. And so, God, we just pray, God, that you just fill us with hope and encouragement, and to seek your word on how to have just thriving relationships, God, both with you and with others, marriage and all kinds of relationships. Thank you again, God, for this opportunity to come together, to worship, to pray, and just to learn just what maybe your word has to say, or just some advice that we've been given. Thanks, God, for loving us and pursuing us in a relationship. In your name we pray. Amen. Have a great week. We'll see you next Sunday.